of the map. To the top left, we have once again in the red color our Protoss player, Team Liquid. As it is
Liquid Hero.
He did quite well on the last map. Looking pretty confident in this second game on Entombed Valley. He's facing a Zerg player once more at the bottom right in the blue color. Starting for Team Xenex, we have
Xenex SuHoSin.
That's quite a long ID there.
Yeah, indeed it is. Xenex line was a little bit more to the point.
Yeah, it was to the point, man. SuHoSin's been around a long time. I look forward to seeing what he does against Hero Yuri. He's a player who I've always felt was, he never really got to his peak of his skill until probably like the Super Tournament. When he played in the Super Tournament, he impressed me a little bit more, and that was the moment where I was like, okay, I guess this guy is decent after all. And he's actually still been, he fell out of Code A, but he's still been going on and on. He's always there, he's always kind of in the background. He doesn't get as much respect as he deserves, but I really feel Hero is the better player overall, though.
We had the double probe scouting once again, the same thing that we are seeing on Tal'Darim Altar. Countless time you send out the first probe after the pylon, after you build the pylon, and if you don't spot your opponent on the first start position that you scout with the first probe, you send out another one after you build the forge in order to make sure that there is no early pull by your opponent. And if there is, you still have enough time in order to react. As soon as you realize that his opponent is starting cross at the bottom right, he pulled this second scouting probe back into his main base and can now safely throw down the expansion. We have the Nexus being built for Hero, while SuHoSin is now just getting his additional Zerglings. He's pull first, no gas, once again, has to take down the pylon, but then we'll see the hatchery, the second base for our Zerg player.
Yeah, I like that Hero went to block the third with his probe, and there was no drone over there, but I like that choice to send it over there. He's now hidden his probe at the bottom of the map, as you can see there, and he will use that later to go in and scout, verify that his opponent's making a fast third. Speaking of that, the rocks are being taken down now for SuHoSin, so always on top of his rocks.
Yeah, I really love that, because the main problem that you have on Entombed Valley if you try to go for 3 bases is that it's pretty hard to defend the third base if you don't have rocks and if you don't kill the rocks in this position. So him attacking the rocks really early on is a smart move. And Killer, Hero, this time it's not Killer, we have different Protoss now, and Hero is only using 1 cannon.
Very true. And oh, the probe actually sneaks by while the tumor was being laid. Sees no gases, but he was probably assuming this would happen regardless. Now he knows for sure. I really think we're going to see that third hatchery go down very soon. There is the drone. Like, seems like a little bit later than I expected, but yeah, there it is.
How far are the rocks, by the way?
Rocks are about
a little bit more than halfway done.
Depot has been destroyed now as well, so he can continue to wall it off.
There's just no space for Terran players on this map. Well, at least in this game.
Well, the Depot still remains alive for SuHoSin. He has a small place in his heart for Terran players.
That has to be a very, very, very small place.
Oh man, I guess that's true. I guess it's like, it's about the same size as the Grinch's heart before it grows a few sizes. And did you see the Grinch? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Alright, that's what it's like. It's smaller. Okay.
Wolf was already afraid for a second. Oh my god, he's gonna think I'm crazy. if he hasn't watched it, he's like, what? We have the Overlord headed for the main base, ladies and gentlemen. 2 of them, to be exact.
Yeah, Zergs are getting really good at the Overlord scouts, putting both of them in there, so at the very least one of them will see something. And he sees that only 3 gases have been taken. And what is Hero going to do here? I think we may actually see another Twilight Council, because he's got gas banking up right now. He hasn't added gateways, but he can't do anything until he takes this Overlord because of the positioning. Looks like he's going to add actually gateways in plain sight for SuHoSin now in the main base.
Indeed he does. We have the Stalker trying to take down the second Overlord as well.
It's a little bit surprising actually that he made the gateways, because if he waited just 1 second longer, he could have made the gateways as natural instead and had them completely unscouted and kept his opponent guessing. But now SuHoSin knows what's going on. He knows he's going to be dealing with some 4 gateway zealot pressure. In fact, the probe even was shown.
The lair tech being started by SuHoSin. Speed as well, once again very, very late, so Hero can poke a bit with his Stalker and his Zealots. We have him with a Twilight Council. You were perfectly right, Wolf.
We're going to see, he's got 2 probes on the map. He's going to make a pylon over here near the 3rd base. And with these 2 zealots and the initial ones that's going to come out of this game, this is how to do it. Like, watch this VOD if you want to know how to do the 4 gateway zealot pressure, because the timing here is awesome by Hero. The only thing I'd like to say is that his 4 pylons went out up just in time. But either way, warp gate research is done, the gateways are done, and we're going to see him warp in some zealots here. Actually, his warp gate research looks like it's just slightly off. There it is, finishing up. And the Queens and Zerli's making up his first wave of zealots, actually. And it looks like Hero may have shown himself too soon.
Yeah, just a tiny little bit. Here's the warp in, but it's a bit too late. There are already a lot of Queens in position, as well as circling. Speed kicks in, and we don't have the Roach one just yet, but here they come, all those Speedlings, and no chance whatsoever for the Protoss units. And immediately he morphs in an Overseer as well, just to be on the safe side.
You know, in some ways, I liked the attack there by Hero. The timing was good, his warp gate research was a little bit off, but I would have liked to see him hide the units and then warp in afterwards. Now he knows he kind of has to play on the defensive. He lost all of his units to do any damage.
Well, SuHoSin really expected DTs, didn't he? He warped in 2 Overseers immediately. So he was a little bit scared that there might be a DT attack by Hero, and is positioning one of his Overseers over his 3rd base. The second one is at the natural already. And we have Hero now with a bunch of upgrades. He's going for +2 Blink. We have also Hallucination in order to get those hallucinated Phoenixes that he can scout what his opponent is up to.
Yeah, whenever you see Hallucination research by a Protoss, you know that Protoss is trying to play for the late game. He's going to be scouting. He's not going to be doing a secondary timing attack to follow this up. He's going to pressure a little bit with Blink and when his +2 finishes, but he wants to take that 3rd Nexus as soon as possible.
And this time we have also Burrow a lot earlier than the last time, so he started it right after his lair take finished. Burrow is finishing now, and we have another Evolution Chamber. Here we'll have double Evo for the double upgrades. And Hero with a transition straight into Templar. I like that.
I like that as well. It's going to be really good against Investor tech, but also other techs later on as well. This Phoenix doesn't see the Roach Warren, just barely sees the Roach Warren and double Evo,
so far we haven't seen any tech, but now he's starting with the Overlord drop ability. So we might just see a huge Roach drop into the main base.
Entirely possible and likely, indeed, or at the very least some harassment through the mid to late game. Double Phoenix here, second one comes in, he will verify. Again, there's no additional tech in place.
He needs to start the Overlord speed pretty soon in order to make it line up. A little bit more time, but still, how many Roach do we already have? 11 of them. Building 7 additional ones, getting the +2 armor. Roach, Borrow, now as well, the Borrow ability.
No Overlord speed though, and he's actually... I'm not sure what he's got planned exactly with these drops, but he's just not getting the speed, as you mentioned earlier. Meanwhile, Hero's 3rd Nexus is finishing up. He's got a nice wall off at his 3rd as well. Phoenixes are continuing to scout. He just wants to make sure 100% there's no Muta switch coming. The Storm, of course, is not going to be very good against Roaches. You know, you can actually basically out-heal the Storm if your Roaches are burrowed, but he still has that tech available to him throughout the game. And I think we're just going to see SuHoSin use that burrow, or rather the Overlord drop later. I don't think he's going to use it right now.
There's the speed though. The speed for the Overlords. I think he has to use it. He doesn't have any transitioning. He doesn't have an Infestation Pit. He doesn't have a Spire. So he needs to do damage. And he just researches everything for his Roaches. So he just needs to make sure that he's getting into the main base. That's the only thing that I can up with right now. Because, well, now he takes the 4th. He started the 4th a second ago.
Yeah, I mean, he's taken the 4th. He's got these Roaches. Like you say, he needs to do something. I think he was considering doing the drop, and then he was like, well, maybe I should just pressure on the ground, and now he's got, okay, his Overlords are now going into position to pick up these Roaches over here on the side. I think he's going to drop the Roaches in the main to distract the main forces, then he's going to attack the 3rd or perhaps the natural after doing so. We'll see.
Speed finishes, and it hasn't been scouted just yet. There's a huge amount of Overlords now headed towards the top right, and whoa, those armies just might clash. The Hallucination just spotted the path of the Roaches, and he tried to intercept them, but with the Burrow ability, he didn't have a problem at all. Preparing for it. Wow. Needs to be careful, though. There's the Observer as well, and he's fighting now while a drop is happening. He's dropping into the third at the same time.
Oh, man,
SuHoSin has to retreat.
He didn't see this either. His observer had vision of it, but he didn't notice there are a few stalkers here. But I think he's going to lose his robotic support bay at the very least.
Oh, he should target it down. He should kill the tech of his opponent. That would be so huge, and he does. He's trying to kill the tech, and he will. No extended thermal lens upgrade.
The first Colossus won't come out. He's going to have to rebuild that, however. Meanwhile, the forces in the middle of the map have returned home. And Hero has actually defended this quite well, and I feel like he's gotten a pretty decent lead from it.
In the meantime, we had our Zerg player build the infestation pit. SuHoSin is now going for the pathogen glands, is taking to Hive, and is already maxed out, has taken the 4th base. And yeah, well, he's actually not in the worst position, but on the other hand, we have 3 bases for Hero, and that's what you want as a Protoss player.
Yeah, he's got 3 bases, that's exactly what you want as a Protoss player. If you've taken the 3rd base, you've almost graduated from the game, you know, then you kind of control things your way. But he's going to lose some gateways perhaps here. I like this trading by SuHoSin. A nice storm on the roaches as well to help push them back.
Trying to burrow into the base, then suddenly those storms happen. He's like, okay, well, maybe not. Trying to pull out. Without losing too many of them. Still lost a fair amount of roaches, so right now Hero is trading quite efficiently. He lost 4,000 resource against 6,000. Getting +3 attack already, and the robotics bay finally finishes.
Hero's got a strong army, Keldor. I really feel if he pushes out, he can start removing bases on the map. Look at this, the roach is actually caught, even eating a storm. The positioning of Hero's units in this was beautiful. And he's going to actually be flanked, though. He did not rebuild his gateway, so there's an opening in the wall, but he just has so many units there. It doesn't appear to matter. I like this targeting down the Templar. He may not get them, though. Oh, the Templar turned around the worst moment there. Well,
doing a lot of damage nonetheless, and most of the roaches are gone.
That was unique, man. He like grabs roaches and drops the storm on him. I really like Hero's play. This actually, I remember the first time I ever watched Hero play, minus online tournaments, I watched him play as qualifier. He actually knocked Dongriku out in the finals. I was standing behind him and watched him. And you can see like this art with how he moves his units. You can actually see him. It's like he's physically grabbing the units on a touch screen or something and moving them around, making sure there's a concave with how he attacks, with how he blinks. It's actually art, man. I really love Hero's unit control.
The Arc Protoss. Well, there he is again, trying to open up this arc in order to embrace his opponent's army. Yeah. SuHoSin with 170 supply is backing up though. 4th base for Hero.
This is a unique situation, Keldor. At this stage of the game, we have Hero up on supply. And I think the reason why is SuHoSin's got a plan with this Spire. He wants to get those Corruptors out, wants to get Broodlords out. He wants to save up that supply, I guess, because his resources aren't as high as he would have liked. He can't just continue to trade. He got his 4th base a little bit later. He doesn't have a 5th base. There is a Warp Prism going around. You actually will be able to sneak into that 4th base and drop some units out because SuHoSin has nothing to spot for this. He's going to see it at the last second.
He doesn't have supply though. He's maxed out. He can't warp anything into the main base of his opponent. Yeah,
he's been maxed for a little while, so I guess he actually pulls his Warp Prism away for a little while there. This is a huge Stalker count. Stalker count up to 40. He's got +3 on all of those Stalkers. They are a scary unit.
They definitely are. They are moving on to creep now. He's killing the creep tumors. He has a bunch of High Templars with him. Is killing the changelings. Here comes the army for SuHoSin. Storms welcoming them immediately, as well as the feedback. There is just nothing that SuHoSin can do right now. He's dropping down in supply. This force by Hero is so strong. He's on 128 army supply against 97. GG.
Wow. He had his Warp Prism ready. He, instead of warping in Reinforcements, he warped in Zealots as his units died. Went to target down the Spire, so no greater Spire could come out. Hero, man, he smashed through that 2-0, and you know, like I said, he's like the maestro, man. He's like got his conductor's wand, and he's moving his units around. It's like a symphony. It's just so amazing to watch. And SuHoSin didn't play a bad game there, but Hero just outclassed him in every way. His Roach drop was relatively successful, but just not as successful as he would have liked it to be. Delayed the support bay. I feel like, in my personal opinion, SuHoSin was too passive. He didn't attack enough. He didn't actually attack enough. He had a strong roach supply. After the drop, he could have continued to pressure his opponent, keep his stalker count lower, continue to trade with him. And the map was quite large. They're cross positions. He could have continued to pressure, but he just decided not to.
I think one of the key things that we've seen in this game is definitely the hallucination upgrade. Hero was able to spot the movements of his opponent's army on a continuous level. The entire game he was able to spot where the roaches were, so there was just not this window where SuHoSin could drop his entire roach army into the third of his opponent. If he would have been able to just drop all the roaches into the third, I think he might have been able to snipe the third, kill the tech as well, and that would have put him into a very good spot. But as soon as the roaches moved past the ramp, Hero knew what was happening with the hallucination. He moved down the ramp, intercepted the roaches, and immediately attacked them. So the only thing that SuHoSin could drop into the third were maybe a third of his army, and that definitely put a number on him. So that was really well played by Hero. Those hallucinations.
Absolutely, man. The scouting was beautiful, and that's something that Pro Toss players are starting to do more and more. Is always have that Phoenix on the side to see which direction the units are going to come from. We're going to take another medium-sized break. Okay, not a small one, not a large one. Medium size. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.